If you had any doubt that the U.S. and China are in the middle of a trade war, I would say doubt no more. The latest salvo coming from China retaliating against the U.S. by devaluing its currency, the yuan. And there's a lot of worry that there could be a global currency war next. Now, while China isn't saying that this move was deliberate, it is sparking speculation. This is intentional to fight back in the trade war after President Trump announced a fresh 10% tariff on China last week, set to take effect on September 1st on the remaining $300 billion of Chinese goods. So that move, by the way, was against the advice from many White House advisors. So a weaker yuan will wind up making Chinese goods cheaper, more competitive to trade with other countries, and a weaker currency essentially helps Chinese manufacturers offset the costs of these higher tariffs in this trade war. So this sell-off that you see happening is because of concern that an already protracted trade battle is getting even longer, especially when the expectation was we would see a solution to this. Now, Brooke, it looks like we won't see a solution, not at the end of the summer like Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin promised, and we may not see a solution to the trade war this year. That could directly impact corporate America.
You've experienced losses that no parent should ever experience. I'm going to El Paso from here. We'll likely be talking to family members whose child or sister or brother or mother or father has been killed. As someone who has been through that and lived through that and lives with that every day, what do you say to the people who are grieving right now?
You understand it. You lost your brother. You understand. It literally, it really takes a part of your soul. I mean, it is. And what I tell people is that it's going to take a long time, but the person you lost is still with you, still part of you. And that when it happened to me, when I got a phone call when I was in Washington after I was elected, before I got sworn in, that they put a first responder on the phone, God love her, and said, you got to come home, there's been an accident, what happened, a tractor? I said, they're dead. Your wife and daughter are dead and your sons. And I remember thinking to myself, my God. Well, I mean, I just remember being so angry with everything. And I shouldn't say it, but angry with God, just angry. And I remember, and people would come up to me and say, meaning well, after I understand. And you feel like saying, you have no idea, you have no idea. You know they mean well. But the people who in fact have been through it, you know they understand. And it gives you solace that they made it. You just want to know, can I make it through? And I had a older gentleman, 35 years my senior, a former elected official in the state of New Jersey, call me, former governor. And he said, I understand. I almost said to him, and he said, you know, I was walking home from lunch. I was the Attorney General. And my wife came, a woman who helps out once a week came running across the mall saying, she's dead, your wife just died. And I said, and I realized he did know. And he said, you know what I did? And my advice, it helped me anyway, is two things. One, he said, get a piece of graph paper and mark every single day how you felt from 1 to 10 that day. Because you know, you lost your brother, when the thought would come to you after a while, you'd be down, just as down as the moment it happened. And he said, don't look at it for 6 months. Mark it on the graph paper, 1 to 10. The downs will be just as far down, but you know you're going to make it when they get further and further and further and further apart. You still get down.
It never goes away.
But it never goes away. But that's when you know you can make it. That's when you know you can embrace the family members that are left. That's when you know that you can make a contribution. It's like when I lost my son, Bo. I remember him saying to me, you know, I wrote a book about it, unfortunately. It was harder than I thought I was going to be able. I wanted people to know what he was like. Yeah. And he looked at me when we'd go home on Fridays to have dinner with him. He lived about a mile from us. And he asked his wife to take the kids upstairs. And my wife had gone home to change before she came back. We got right off the train. And he said, Dad, look at me, Dad. He said, I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. He knew he only had months to go. And he said, but promise me, Dad, promise me you'll be okay. And I said, well, I'll be okay. And I know people make fun of it, but we have a thing in our family. He said, Dad, promise me as a Biden, give me your word as a Biden, you'll be okay. Because that's the sacred thing we do. And I said, I will, Bo. But I knew what he meant. He meant, Dad, don't do what you want to do. You want to turn inward. You want to just wall yourself off. You don't want to be part of it all. He just wanted me to make sure that the things that have animated my life, my whole life, I didn't walk away from. He knew I'd take care of the kids. He knew I would be there for the family. But it's the thing, the other thing I would strongly urge people, and they can't do it now. They just can't even think through the fog right now. But eventually, what will take you through is purpose. Find a purpose, something that matters, particularly if it's something connected to the loss you just had. And so, I'm being too personal, but if I get up in the morning and I think to myself in the morning, is he proud of me? Am I doing what he wants? And I'm sure that it's the same way with you and a whole lot of other people. But at a moment, there will come a time when you think of the person you lost. It takes a long while, where you get a smile before you get a tear. And that's when you know you're going to make it. And so many people have gone through what I've been through without the help I had. Think of all the heroes out there walking those streets today. They get up every single morning. They put one foot in front of the other, and they move. They move.
My mom used to say the saying, it's from a Scottish philosopher, and the saying is, be kind because everybody you meet is fighting a great battle. And
Exactly
I think that's
right.
a really important thing.
Kierkegaard also said, faith sees best in the dark. Sometimes it's really dark, but there is hope. And think about what it means for those family members you have left. They need you. They need you. And look, folks, that's why I think that it matters, the stories of these people, for the public to understand that this is not just a statistic. This is who we are, who they are. I mean, and it really is about, sort of reweaving that social fabric that holds a society together. Honesty, decency, hope, leaving nobody behind, giving hate no safe harbor. We don't always live up to it, but that's who we are. That's who we are. And it's the thing that holds us together. And I don't see much of it coming from the far right and the Breitbarts of the world and this administration. It's the uniqueness of America.
Mr. Vice President, thank you very much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get so personal.
No, I appreciate it.
Well,
It helps.
well, I mean, it's just amazing how everybody knows who Donald Trump is. We gotta let them know who we are, man. Even his supporters know who he is. They have no illusions about the basic fundamental character traits. I mean, and I think sometimes he thinks that when we talk about this thing, that we talk about other people like we're being suckers, like we're not, take care of yourself. I mean, I don't know. I don't. We let them know that, we choose hope over fear, unity over division, and maybe most importantly, truth over lies. But they got to make sure that, not because I'm running, we got to make sure that the American people understand, whoever you're trying to lead, that you mean what you say. There's some authenticity to it, and it matters. And you know as well as I do, it really matters.